Welcome back to the Cardmarket YouTube channel. We're still in the Modern Tournament here, round 2. If you haven't seen round 1, check it out. It's probably somewhere on your timeline there.
It's linked somewhere. Otherwise, just go to the channel and find the last video featuring Gabriel.
Just click random videos until you find
it. We're still watching Modern. I'm still Jamin alongside Mythic Champion, Thoralf Severin, also known as Thoralf. Before we get into the games real quick, if you haven't subscribed yet and you don't want to miss the additional Modern rounds being uploaded later on, the subscribe button is located below this video somewhere down there. So scroll down there, click the subscribe button and also click the bell, because that really helps us show, the company that you like this kind of content. But with that out of the way, let's get into the games. So we're back for more. Round 1, we saw Gabriel take down Burn with the help of Liliana of the Veil, usually not a great card against Burn. Round 2, we see Gabriel against Mark, who is on Grixis Shadow, and we already have one of the key interactions of Modern taking place here, right?
Yeah, playing Ragavan and saying like, one time? Well, usually it's all the time, but this one time is one time. But of course they always have it. Otherwise, the game would be overish.
Yeah, if that Ragavan stuck in play, this game probably would have been off to a very, very, very bad start for Nassif. But as he does have that answer for it, the game now actually goes underway with a Kroxa on turn 2.
Kroxa is such a beautiful design, not like his brother Oro, which is questionable, I would say. Kroxa just has such a nice nod on everything, like the discard, the damage, getting it back from the graveyard. It feels really black and red,
Yeah,
it tells you it's coming and then it's actually coming.
It also really does the Punisher mechanic nice, where your opponent, they have a choice. Do you take 3 damage or do you discard a non-land card? It comes back, it captures the flavor well, whereas Aura was like, well, I draw cards and I do stuff.
It was more of a good card tied together as something they wanted it to do. It's kind of what I feel like they started with black-red and then mirrored blue-green.
Maybe, yeah. Anyways, Kroxa a mainstay in Modern as well as Pioneer these days, being used in many, mid-range strategies that don't have anything better to do with their graveyard than to exile all of the cards.
And it's not quite clear that Gab knows he's playing against Death Shadow. I feel like you could have a decent hunch, but I feel like a lot of the decks could look like this.
Yeah, I mean, Shock into Fetch Shock is not that unusual, but at the same time, it doesn't feel super normal.
Ow.
A dashed Ragavan hitting a Thoughtseize.
Oh, that is huge.
That must be one of the best cards to hit off of Ragavan,
yeah,
right?
Not only does it actually give you a card, it also makes your game plan of losing life that much easier.
Yeah, it makes your game plan easier, and it's also just instant, like an instant effect that Ragavan provides you. It's
you can just use it right away. Yeah.
All right, taking the Liliana, leaving Gabriel with only 2 Thoughtseizes in hand and a suspended Profane Tutor. Notably, Gabriel also does have that Cabal Coffers in hand, which might come in handy later on.
Ooh, that Inquisition was the draw.
Yeah, that's a 3rd discard spell.
I find it interesting. Usually the Death Shadows deck were extremely cheap, right? You played a lot of 1-mana spells. Sometimes you played a little 2-mana spells, but you almost never touched like 3, except for maybe Lingering Souls in some versions and stuff. But this version does seem to be more of the heavier side of the mana. I mean, you do play Kroxa, which is 2 mana, do nothing, but then 4 mana card, and then Liliana of the Veil. And Expressive Duration is also more of a 2-3 mana card, right?
Yeah, I mean, you cannot really afford to only pay 2 mana for that, unless you,
if you haven't played a land drop, it's fine, but then you need to find a 1-drop to also play with it, so it sometimes really feels much better on turn, like when you have 3 lands on turn 4.
Yeah. Gabriel choosing Iteration here feels reasonable alongside the Ragavan.
Yeah, he could get one of the major payoffs to all of those graveyard decks. The Dragon Rage Chandra is so efficient in like not only damage, but also every time you surveil, you felt like you gained at least like half a card. And when you have Crocs in your graveyard or some more interactions with your graveyard, then even while getting away cards you don't want to have, you get an advantage. Pretty good.
It's crazy how like two of the best mono red 1-drops were just printed in the same set.
Yeah, and they outclassed everything.
Yeah.
I remember Jackal Pup. that was a 1-drop we had.
All right, Toffel, you used up your one old card reference per
One
video.
per video, I tell you. It's like, I'm not old.
So Profane Tutor resolved, and suddenly Gabriel has an Urborg in hand. Do you think that's a coincidence, or did that Profane Tutor grab that Urborg?
I think there was a strong correlation between those events, yeah.
All right. As Unholy Heat gets taken by Thoughtseize, Liliana takes care of the Dragon Rage Channeler, and that leaves Mark with an empty board, not enough mana to cast Liliana, and a life total that doesn't allow Death Shadow to come down.
It's pretty bleak. All of it doesn't add up. Kroxa costs 4 mana, so you kind of want to have like a third land now. Ooh, okay.
That's a third land, so this enables either the Death Shadow or the Liliana, and I can promise you one thing, Toffel, the other card won't be there next turn anymore. The other card will be discarded to Gabriel's Liliana most likely.
Or your own one, for that matter.
True.
But
Mark decides to go with the Death Shadow. I think he realizes while casting that, oops, I should fetch beforehand.
Death Shadow on stack, fetch.
Fetch, yeah. That's what I usually do on Magic Online. If I remember to hold control while clicking the card.
Yeah, it's a dicey game. Okay.
Yeah, Death Shadow, a 3/3 right now, and that Liliana will probably hit the bin in just a second.
It's really unfortunate you're also gonna lose your Liliana in a lot of cases. That's another Liliana.
Oh, that's another Liliana. Tough, my prediction was wrong. That Mark's Liliana still being there after the turn.
Because you can't discard the Liliana. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a bit sad.
Hey! What is going on?
The merry-go-round.
Okay, so but this turn my prediction will come true. Unless Gabriel drew another Liliana.
History reads.
No way. Oh, if that... I mean, if you did that play last turn, you would have to do it again,
No,
right?
it's a Karn.
It's a Karn?
It's a Karn.
It's a Karn.
Yeah. He had the Karn face.
You, as a Tron specialist, you can tell when people have Karn.
Yeah, specifically this Karn, you're always disappointed when you draw it. So it's like, why do I have this Karn and not the other one?
All right, but now Mark with the Death Shadow has... I mean, he probably has the choice between taking out Karn and taking out Liliana next turn.
You do have the choice of getting Soulguide Lantern or Torment Script. I think both are available.
Yeah. But
Which gets rid of the Kroxa problem.
True. Yeah, Torment Script and decides to crack it right... No, never mind. That's just a reading of the card. But I assume he would have to take care of everything right away, because otherwise Mark can just escape when he draws a land.
Yeah, and now there's a decision. Both of the Planeswalkers will go if you attack Karn, but if you attack Lily first, then there might be a chance that Death Shadow... Ooh, Dress Down.
Oh, that's just lethal! That's just lethal! Oh, what a... that's a... Going into that turn, I didn't expect a lethal attack.
Well, I mean, I also haven't seen this interaction unfold a lot, but usually you play it for some protection mechanisms, but that works.
I mean, so what happened was Dress Down takes care of all abilities, right? It dresses the creatures down, all abilities get rid of.
It's raw strength now.
And then that Death Shadow just becomes a 13/13, and it turns out Gabriel was at 13. Oh.
That's what we in the business call a good draw.
Yeah, that's a good draw for sure. Oh my goodness. That was brutal. All right, I gotta mentally prepare myself for game 2 here.
It's neat because I assume the card wasn't intended to play like this, but you found so many applications.
Yeah, Dress Down truly a card that was underappreciated when it first was spoiled, and then at some point people realized what it can do. Like, it can do all these crazy things, and in the end, it has become kind of a sideboard card, or in this case, for Grixis Shadow, also sometimes like a tech.
So let me figure that out. It sacrifices at end of turn, right?
Yes, it does.
If you play it at end of turn, it stays on the field for one more turn.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can just cast Croxa and it stays.
Yeah.
Cool. Modern.
Yeah, modern. I mean, is it really modern, or is it really Modern Horizons 2? Because that card.
No. I feel like the richness of all those interactions is not comparable to many other formats, right?
True. I mean, all the interactions within Modern Horizons 2 were kind of planned out that way, right? I mean, the set gets.
I would be surprised if they made Dress Down to make Death Shadow better.
No. I mean, within the set itself, just contained with. But the richness of interactions comes from Modern Horizons 2 interacting with 10 years worth of Magic cards.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, Liana didn't get to interact with 10 years worth of Magic.
Nah, she only got to interact with 1 mana worth of Magic.
Yeah.
Ragavan hitting a land, as the Profane Tutor is still on suspend.
And Gab actually has quite the problem of getting rid of the Dash Ragavan if there's no Fatal Push or the Thoughtseize, but you really want to have the discard for some other cards, right? For example, the Bloodchief Thirst you have in your deck, it's kind of meh.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you whether you think it's worth keeping in 1 mana discard spells in this matchup, because neither player have opened up with one.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thought on that?
I feel like if you don't really have one specific card you need to hit, then it's fair to take them out, especially if you feel like the games go over attrition and much longer, because then you're actually spending the mana and the cost of drawing them later is so bad, and you can deal with Liliana in other ways. It's not that you have to take her. So I definitely agree with taking out some of, if not all of those.
All right. I mean, yeah, and I assume these games will take a little longer than your usual game of Magic.
I mean, Gap's deck is not winning anytime soon, most of the time, so.
All right. So the first few turns, just to sum it up, we saw Liliana countered by a Spell Pierce, and then we saw a Profane Tutor countered by a Drown in the Loch. So really not a lot going on the board, but now there might be, a little more to come as Karn hits the battlefield and fetches a Wormcoil Engine from the sideboard. Also, that Wormcoil Engine probably ready to be played next turn if Nassif just plays another Swamp.
And Wormcoil Engine used to be the end for Death Shadow, right? It's too big to actually kill it. It kind of kills 2 Death Shadows and gives you life back. And it was too expensive to counter it with like Spell Pierce generally or like other stuff. But now with the addition of Drown in the Loch, there's actually quite a reasonable interaction.
I mean, there is a chance. You also have the chance of somehow killing it with a Dress Down, then it doesn't, leave behind the tokens.
Yeah, that's very good.
But all of that is kind of a tough ask, because right now...
It adds up.
It does add up in the end, but right now Gabriel doesn't have 6 cards in the graveyard, so Drown in the Loch is out. And I don't see a Dress Down in his hand either. In Mark's hand, that is.
Ragavan, the unfortunate attacking a Planeswalker with Ragavan.
How unlucky.
Yeah. Sometimes life is just not fair. You pay 80 euro for a card. And
then it doesn't even hit your opponent.
Yeah.
Give you a free card and a treasure on top.
I mean, at one point, yeah, you kind of have to say, like, maybe I still hit my opponent,
Would you have hit Gabriel here?
Well, depends. The more desperate I would be, the more I would hit Gabriel, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a free draw, right? But you never know what is in Gab's deck.
Well, I mean, you know little.
Yeah.
There's probably no Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, probably not.
Or Yarok.
Good guesses, Thoralf.
Thank you.
I mean, you could hit the Bloodchief's Thirst, but that doesn't, you would have to pay bonus for that.
Extra, yeah. Extra.
It's nice how we found 2 words, bonus and extra, both of which are not the actual keyword, which is kicker. You would have to pay the kicker cost for that one to take out the Karn. As it stands right now, you're left with the Karn on 2 and a 2/2 Death Shadow to threaten it, but you're facing down that Wormcoil. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
No matter how big your Death Shadow becomes, that Wormcoil Engine is gonna block it. That being said, maybe Mark can pull off another either a Dress Down bluff or a Dress Down, because if the Wormcoil blocks Death Shadow and then Mark casts Dress Down, then Wormcoil loses Death Touch, Wormcoil loses the, splintering into multiple tokens when dying, and Death Shadow becomes a 13/13. So dress down once again would be a game changer here.
The problem at this point is, for now it works, but if your opponent isn't like over 13, they have to block anyway, because then dress down would kill you.
True.
So right now it's fine, but at one point, and the race isn't quite over. Like, Croxa could have a little talk here, being a 6/6 that blocks all the other things.
Yeah, but that would require a Croxa to get into play at some point. And
so I assume Ragavan, both of them attack Karn.
Okay.
Because he's afraid of another artifact coming out? Yeah.
I guess, but at this point, you've given up the race, right? Like, you're not gonna, like, Nassif is gaining 6 life, is on 22. You're playing for the long game?
Yes.
I'm interested to see how that plans out. Nassif blocking Ragavan, probably afraid of a dress down? Does that make sense? Is that, because otherwise you would just block the Death Shadow, wouldn't you?
Or afraid that the Warcard actually could die to some interaction.
But without a dress down, that always leaves behind that 3/3 token that can block the Ragavan, right?
You're right, but then you only have 3/3 tokens. Like, for now you have a Wormcoil, which is kind of insurance,
Alright, Croxa hitting the battlefield. I mean, at this point, Gabriel is not afraid to discard a land if he has one, unless he needs it for capital coffers, but sitting on 22, you don't mind 3 damage off of Croxa. Discarding Damnation?
So it's satisfied with the board system. I think there was a fatal push.
Oof, if that was the case, then... Yeah. Either way, this is really looking grim for Mark.
Also,
that was a fatal push, so it gets exiled. Oh,
it will get exiled.
Okay. Yeah.
Gab is on point. And now you kind of have to fight Croxa once.
But once that's done, Mark just decides that's it, because the Voidwalker doesn't have shadow, so an unblockable attack is coming through. All right, so game 2, no dress down to be found. Game 3. Let's see how that one goes. I think Nassif is on a mulligan.
Yeah, there's Bloodchief's Thirst, which is...
It's not great against Ragavan unless...
It's exactly good now.
Yeah.
We've seen Dragon Rage Challenger, so there is a reasonable saying, okay, is there only one land?
Oh, there is only one land, and it's not a mulligan to 6. This is a mulligan to 5.
And the castle, yeah.
But at the very, very, very least, you're on the draw. But yeah, the castle cannot deal with Ragavan. Oh no.
You better hit a swamp.
Yeah, Gabriel, please. Oh, that was not. Oh no. Oh no. All right. In game 1, we said this is the key interaction of Modern, Ragavan removal. Now we see the other side of the medallion.
I think it's gonna be fine.
Let's see how fine it will turn out.
What could possibly go wrong?
How bad could it be?
A free 2-mana creature.
That's how it could go wrong. And a treasure to boot.
Yeah, I think though this is bad.
Yeah, did you change your mind?
Expert analysis here.
Expert analysis here. Mythic Tour Champion. Never mind, not only a treasure, you convert that treasure into mana right away to cast a Dragon Rage Challenger. Another castle comes into play tapped as well. You have to take care of the Ragavan right now with the Bloodchief's Thirst. And then the rest of the game, I don't know, you're just behind like 2 mana, a card, some more cards because of your mulligan. This is not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, also the thing is not over, right? You're still getting beaten by 4. You're still on a mulligan to 5. Your opponent has a full grip.
And a free Dothy Voidwalker, like not free, but not
they even have a swamp, even though it's the ugliest swamp in the universe.
Oh wow, Toffel spitting the hot takes.
I mean,
you heard it here first.
Have you ever went to judge? I want the oracle of this swamp.
No.
You see, for a reason.
All right.
I mean, as long as they're kind of just goofy 1/1s.
Yeah, it's fine. Gabriel also keeps drawing lands. So how about another land next turn and then a damnation? How do we like that?
I agree.
And
Is there a damnation?
Not yet.
So
but
how do we get to the land and divination part? The damnation part?
Nah, this is over 2 turns, of course. And the second turn even gets taken care of by the profane tutor that Gabriel is about to suspend.
You can even draw a card with the Cling to Dust, which you might even want to do that your opponent doesn't get to Delirium.
True.
But then also your Cling to Dust is gone. Man, the Voidwalker was kind of mean.
I mean, yeah, Voidwalker hating on many modern decks by hating on the graveyard.
Tutor feels so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, let me figure out what I'm doing in 2 turns.
In 2 turns. I'll take it slow, but
This is like my studies.
But honestly, I have like, you're right. As long as they remain silly 1/1s, those Dragon Rage's Channeler are fine. And as it stands, Mark does not seem to have a blue source of mana, making the expressive iteration in his hand utterly useless. So, like, Mark still does have time to put more pressure on. Oh, and there's the source of blue mana.
You jinxed it.
I jinxed it.
Does jinxing work in history? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it works for the past. Do you know which card the Dothy Voidwalker interacts really badly with?
Drown in the Dock.
Drown in the Dock. Guess which card Mark has in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna take that.
So honestly, Mark still not with a lot of action in his hand. Next turn, he can start casting an expressive iteration. And
Why not this turn?
Because you don't really, like, what are you gonna hit? A black card that you can cast for 1, a discard spell?
Well, you still get 1 in your hand. One of the most underplayed modes is just play it as an anticipate.
Toffle spitting hot facts.
It is like this. I mean, you're even getting like 2 Surveil triggers out of it. They could have attacked for 4.
I like the idea. I think
I've cast many of them as anticipates.
Yes, I like it. And like, honestly, I think that is a hot take that is very correct. I would assume, because also for me the default mode is always like, all right, get the max value out of it, right? I want to have a divination.
Divination plus.
But why not cast it as anticipate? Strategic planning.
I didn't quite see the other options, but I assume Drown in Loch is not one of them. But if this is literally the only thing you can do, which it looked like.
Yeah, I think the last thing is an Unholy Heat.
Yeah.
Liliana Plus makes a lot of sense given that we assume there's a damnation coming, right? So minusing doesn't really take care of a lot right now because Mark just loses a 1/1.
If you end up with Delirium, you win on the spot, right?
Yeah, you do. Gabriel is on 8 unless there's a Fatal Push coming.
Which, I mean, is not. Let's be real. I think he just played the Marsh Flats from the top. You can deduce that this is not it. So how are you gonna do that? Well, you have a creature right now. You have a land in play. You need the sorcery from this and an instant, right? What you can do is you can just cast Drown in Loch for nothing.
Oh yeah, true. You can just target any permanent. It doesn't get destroyed.
Pretty sure it needs to be a creature, but that's the same, right? Like when you have creatures.
Yeah. So Mark decides to discard another creature, fetching, and now Nassif is thinking about something. I'm not sure if he's trying to bluff a Fatal Push or if he actually has a Fatal Push. Because right now, while Mark is cracking the fetch land, there is no blue mana available for him, right? That's the fact that Gabriel
it needs to be a Fatal Push, right?
Yeah.
Which would be quite a handy draw, you know? Even then, you're going down to 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Fatal Push.
That's gone. You can sack it because it needs to be tapped.
Yeah. I think they're talking about whether the Fatal Push should be exiled or not.
Yes,
which
it should not be. The Fatal Push destroys the walker and then goes into the graveyard. Because you're reading the card from top to bottom.
Yeah, I'm not certain on how they handled here. It seems like they have agreed that it should stay exiled. But now, after all this, the fetch ability actually resolves, getting Mark the blue source. And with that...
Right now it's even kind of dicey because the nation is coming. You can get him to 1.
Yeah, but Mark does not cast an instant just yet. I don't think we're achieving Delirium here. I think Mark has set his sights on something else.
The Death Shadow was discarded to Liliana.
Yeah, it was. So no instant was discarded to Liliana.
Well, you can play Iteration and then get the blue land and then cast Drown, but
now you can't cast Drown anymore. It actually destroys things.
Yeah, now it actually gets worse. Oh.
Okay, Crocs in the graveyard. That's no additional card.
That's huge. Like.
It is. At the same time.
Because you also have to discard non-lands if you actually get to the Delirium.
Yeah. At the same time, we're still not achieving Delirium this turn. We're only hitting for 2.
You could also keep Drown for the Profane Tutor, which ironically wouldn't even need.
Yeah.
Need the card in the graveyard.
Yeah. Even though it costs 2 to suspend, it doesn't cost anything. You know, it doesn't have a converted mana cost or a mana value, as people say these days.
Wow. Boomers. Zoomers?
Zoomers.
Ugh, man. I never know what. Back then we didn't have no boomers.
All right. Mark takes 1 card into hand, plays a Water Grave untapped, going down to 12, and now if there's any instant to be had.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's not.
No instant, so...
Like, it hurts too much.
Yeah, just in attack for 2. Takes Gabriel down to 5. I mean, still, Gabriel is not out of the woods yet. No,
you could have considered hitting Liliana for 2. So at least the Liliana minus destroys Liliana. Yeah. Obviously, you kind of have to hit the Profane Tutor here because the damnation that you get couldn't be drowned. Also, the land you couldn't drown if there's like a Coffers. Whoops.
Oh, that just looked like another swamp. So now Gabriel can also pay some life.
You can minus. You can even draw first, like play swamp. Draw. You could draw Fatal Push. There shouldn't be much of a difference. The problem is at this point, if Croxa is ever escaped, you don't have a card to discard.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between 5 and 4 is that an undelirious hit from Channeler kills you together with Croxa. Otherwise, it's the same. Oh! That's nice.
That's fine.
That wasn't a Fatal Push, but it was a Bloodchief's Thirst.
Was the Hall of Fame bonus.
Yeah, do you, as a Hall of Famer, do you get a bonus to your top decks?
I'm not Hall of Famer, I wouldn't know. I didn't read the contract details. It's like, it's a very elusive club, you know?
Alright, another red source of mana guarantees that the Croxa can come down this turn.
Yeah, but there might be actual Ragavan first.
Oh, Ragavan! Ragavan can... Yeah, just create another treasure down to 2. Oh, and with the treasure you can cast Croxa, so that's just lethal.
That's just lethal, yeah. I agree. But first, read the card.
That one stays exiled without the Darthy Voidwalker counter. And we've got a treasure, we've got a Croxa in the graveyard, and Nassif doesn't have any cards in hand, right?
Nope. This could be it.
Alright, yeah, I think Mark just getting caught up in the heat of the moment.
Sometimes you want to play with your food, you know? Sometimes...
I think Mark just realized the very same thing, so they're sharing a laugh about that, because it happens to all of us.
Don't you have like this feeling when you're clearly winning, but then your opponent concedes, and you're like, wait, I wasn't done yet. Like, let me enjoy this, you know? I'm beating a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but Nassif just drawing a card, and that's not going to get him out of it. As I don't think there's a 1-mana artifact in his sideboard that gains him enough life to survive the Death Shadow and Croxa, so that's the match.
Yep.
Going to 1-1. Gabriel Nassif, Liliana of the Vale, letting him down this time. Our backup match was also finished on time, so today we do not have any Harry MTG magic for you.
Must be one of the worst, like, Schicksal, destinies in Magic when you do the backup match to Nassif.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Anyways, that was the paper Magic coverage we had for you today. For the next video, we will be covering round 3. If you haven't watched round 1 yet, you can find that on the Cardmarket YouTube channel. Why would you watch round 2 without watching round 1 first though?
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you don't want to miss round 3, make sure to subscribe to the channel by scrolling down a bit, hitting that subscribe button. But until now, Toffel and I will be seeing you in the next video.